Welcome, everybody, to Happiness Patrol. I'm your host, Paparazzo Dave Chapman, and I've got my kazoo, and we're having some fun. We'll put that over there. No, we won't, because I'll need it later. Hey, so we've got another great episode of Happiness Patrol. This time we're looking at The Last Jedi, Episode 8. We are almost done our season of Star Wars. For those of you who are just joining us, first season is Star Wars, but the premise in general is that we are friends who are tired of the toxicity in fandoms, regardless of your fandom. So we wanted to do something to talk about something that makes us happy. And in the first season, that is Star Wars. Our second season will be announcing very soon. It's going to be something totally different. You guys are going to love it. If you're not subscribed, subscribe now. Please, we'd love to have you on this journey. And even if you're not a Star Wars fan, that's okay. You don't have to. We're going to be critical, but we're not going to be toxic about it. We're going to be constructive in our criticism. We've got a slightly smaller group today. Scott couldn't make it. He got literally half hour, 45 minutes before we started this recording. I got a call from Scott, so I got called into work. Well, that's okay. So we've still got four of us. It's going to be a grand time. Scott's general opinion is, and I think so. He's not the super big fan, but we do have a super big fan. It's where the happiness is going to be easy, and that's Cameron. Hey, Cam.
Hello. Yeah, Scott's been spending a lot of time and energy on all of our recordings, queuing up how much he dislikes this one. And then
he couldn't make it.
I mean, this is easily, I think A New Hope is my favorite. If I had to say, what's your favorite Star Wars movie? I kind of think of them as kind of one thing. It's hard to, A New Hope's, probably my favorite Star Wars movie. This is easily my second favorite. And I think it's a masterpiece. I think it, I've heard there's been people that don't like it, and I've never really heard a good reason why they don't like it. I sat and watched it with a coworker when we were wrapping up the Creature Shop on season 2 of Fraggle Rock, and he was like trying to come at it with all these same arguments, and every single one I was like, no, it's good because this and that. And he was like, oh. And by the end of it, he was like, okay, it's easily the best of the sequel trilogy.
Okay.
In his eyes.
In his eyes. All right.
And mine too.
Excellent. Well, we'll see what the rest of the group says. Next up, we've got fresh from her trip to Germany, Miss Melanie Dean. How you doing, Melanie?
I'm doing quite well, and I think I'm back on my normal schedule now. The jet laggy 6-hour difference was, it's fun. It's fun
when
you
the coming
fly
back that hurts.
Oh,
going there, you get used to it. You have a nap. You're good.
Which is true if you can get to sleep on the plane over there. I couldn't turn my brain off. It was funny. It was worse for me going over this time than coming back, even though I had to work the next day. But yeah, it's you after traveling for so much, you start learning the tips and tricks that are good for you. But even then, best laid plans, sometimes your brain just doesn't want to help, and you're at the airport at 3:00 in the morning, just drinking coffee, going, "Oh, we're just going to keep going. We're gonna power through.
Power through. Yeah.
Power through. Tears coming down your eyes. You're like, it's fine. I'll take
coffee with blue milk in it.
Yeah, but I'm back. I'm happy. We're good.
All right.
I can't wait to start talking about this movie and burst Kim's balloon. I'm kidding. You know I love you.
Not happening. Nothing could ever turn you.
It's there's parts of this movie that make me happy. There's parts of this movie that make me a little irked. But generally, I enjoyed rewatching this movie for this review. I just finished it, and it did remind me of some of the parts when I saw it in the theater for the first time and went, "Oh, that's amazing!" So it was kind of neat to relive those moments. So,
and it is worth noting that despite Scott's low opinion of this movie, he did rewatch it. He had rewatched it before he came, so it's not like he's not watching it and skipping it.
No. And he
that's
hadn't
He
seen
did
it
watch
since
it.
the theater, right? Like he saw it in the theater and then hadn't
Yeah.
revisited it.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
so
I think
that's
kind of
what-
breaks my cardinal rule about Star Wars is that you have to kind of like I watched this one 4 times in 5 days when it came out, and I think you have to like quickly watch it a bunch of times so that it becomes kind of part of your second nature, and then
Mhm.
it kind of breaks through all that weirdness of seeing Star Wars for the first time that you've never
also
seen.
helps not talking to other people. That's usually what
Oh,
happens the
I
worst for
mean-
any movie. It's just stay away. Just
I live in a Star Wars vacuum because I was
Yeah.
very not online when it came to these movies, and I, yeah, my opinion is very much mine, I guess.
Yeah. because you can accidentally hyper focus on something that didn't bring yourself joy, and
Right.
which I respect
Exactly.
Scott for saying, what he did. That's why I love our group. And even when Jess jumps in, with there's parts that we don't like, we can understand and respect it
Exactly.
and move on and not go.
So let's jump
"You're
Jess in right
wrong,
now,
and
in
this is
fact.
why."
Let's jump Jess in right now.
There she is.
I've been here the whole time.
Yes, this is true. She's
Well,
been
no
in the
one's ever
background
really gone.
listening to us yap.
Yeah. No
Yeah,
one's ever really gone. So
Exactly. We're glad you're
yeah.
here, Jess.
Me too.
It's always good, even bad Star Wars, quote unquote. It's still good to talk Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
You are our lore mistress, so this will be
Let's
interesting.
see
to
if
see.
I can say that next episode. But for this one, I can say that.
yes,
And that's the hardest
definitely-
thing I think for all of us is going to be disconnect. And we were saying this, Melanie was saying this just before we started recording, is the disconnecting this episode and the last one to the next one, and trying to see this as it is in its own little box, because that is one thing about the sequel trilogy that is more focused than the other two. This is very serialized.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The original trilogy, they left it open for a sequel, but didn't really know they were going to get one. Never
Yep.
mind two.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know?
I think once they got Empire, like once they got through the first one, it was such a big hit. They knew they'd go Empire Jedi. But people
Yeah.
forget, I mean, it wasn't the same director all the way through, the original trilogy. It's 3 different directors. And I think their input sometimes gets forgotten. But like on our Empire episode, we talk a lot about Irvin Kershner did a lot to make Empire what it is. And
Mhm.
and I think Richard Marquand too. So this idea, I think there's this idea that like George had it all mapped out. He knew everything and every beat was going to be. But I mean, even Return of the Jedi had a totally different title until weeks before release. So, I this is one where I have a lot of notes about it. I promise not to talk too much, but I think it's a masterpiece. I think, and I've said before, I think Star Wars works best when it's a singular vision of a great filmmaker. And I think Rian Johnson in this case was a great filmmaker with a singular vision, and everyone had to get on board with his vision to make it work. And they did. I think even, a lot was made about Mark Hamill not agreeing with the path of Luke. Once he saw the script and Rian Johnson told him, these are, I looked at all these characters and I was like, what is their biggest challenge? What are they going to be up against the most? And I'm going to throw them into it. Like, it was set up that Luke had disappeared, that he was hiding, that no one could find him, that he was on this thing. So I think fundamentally he was like, well, this isn't where it should go. But then he was like, well, it actually kind of makes a lot of sense. And eventually, I mean, he loves Ryan. He loves this movie. It just, the fans couldn't get back on board apparently, but that's their problem. They're missing out on a very good movie.
To be fair, this movie made a fortune.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like the movie did well. It's not like it bombed at the box office.
Not by any stretch of the imagination. I think it's in the top 10 of, is it not? Of
not
that it
is
matters.
It the top 10 of all 9 Star Wars movies? Yes, it is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, of all
Rogue One's the 10th, right?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Force Awakens
There we go.
made a lot more because Force Awakens was massive. I think it's number 3 after the Avatar movies or whatever. But I
Yeah,
don't
it was
really
the same thing
care.
like Phantom Menace. It was the fun of we're getting new Star Wars. We're getting more Star Wars. We're all
Mhm.
gonna run out there and get more Star Wars.
Yeah. There's that shot of Obama where he's like telling the press corps, I gotta go watch Star Wars, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because it was such a big deal when Force Awakens came out. So
Yeah, but it's and we're happy for them. And like I said, it I think I don't know if it was fourth, but it was definitely up there. It was definitely one of the, I think it was the highest grosser that year, the second highest grossing movie that year. It did well, which is why it's interesting that there's so many people who dislike it.
yeah, and I mean, you guys definitely give me reasons why you don't like it if you don't like it, because I can't find them. I've watched them specifically looking for them, and I can't find them. I know that there was a lot of negative Russian bots that were poisoning the well. I know they were trying to tank the economy, you know, hoping that this kind of monolith of the winter economy would tank it, but it
So
didn't work.
I will say that my dislike of this is very individualized.
Mm.
I don't go on the internet. I don't go on forums. I don't engage in a lot of like Star Wars internet dialogue. Honestly, this is probably the most that I've done.
Yeah.
And I left the cinema and I was trying so hard to convince myself that I liked it. And I also went and saw it a couple times in theaters because I had gone with an ex-partner and he was like, this is the best thing ever. And I was like, I had some issues with it. And he's like, you just need to see it again. And then we saw it again. And I was like, oh, now these issues are bigger now than the first time I saw it, because I was starting to convince myself that it wasn't. And now I'm really having issues with it. And he was like, wow, you're just a hater. You're one of those haters. And I was like, no, like, these are my things. Then he went and talked to his boss, and his boss was like, yeah, I had some issues with it. And he goes, oh my gosh, yeah, this movie was crap. And I was like, hey, hold on. I
just said that.
He's a
I just
garbage
said
person.
that, but he
I
needed
just-
a male's opinion.
I aired that grievance
Yeah, he's a
quite
garbage man.
thoroughly.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it very much was for me, as and I know why I have such an issue. Well, I have an objective and a subjective issue. I have both. Which do you want?
Your pick.
Whatever you feel comfortable talking about, I guess.
Yeah.
I'll talk about all of it. So like
Yeah.
I grew up with Luke and the Legends Luke. So it was very, and so did Mark. Mark's read all the novels. He's seen the vision that people
The
had
sacred
for
Jedi texts.
Yep. He's read all of
he's read
knows
the
the
stuff, and
bloodlines.
yes.
He knows Mara Jade.
And the thing is like, I didn't expect to come in and have them do Legends. But they even hyped Luke up in Force Awakens. And it was like, you are getting Luke Skywalker, because the whole thing was about finding this map for Luke Skywalker.
Oh, they were hoping to get Luke Skywalker, but they weren't hyping up that they were getting Luke Skywalker.
Yes, but like that was the whole thing.
Yeah.
And you know, it kind of comes back to, and I think I said it last episode, maybe I didn't, I don't remember. If you didn't tune in last episode, I might have said it, but it was the fact that I feel like they reverted all of the main characters from the original trilogy's story arcs. They went right back to where they were at the beginning. Luke's on a abandoned planet. Han's a smuggler going off the thing, and Leia's part of this another rebellion, still going against her own government because she doesn't agree with them. And it is very difficult because I want to see progression. I want to see where these people grow to, and at least one of them, if that makes sense. Like, give us something. And it really felt like they were saying, nope, no one ever changes. No matter how much crap you go through, you cannot ever become a better person than how you start at 18. That is the person you will always be for the rest of your life. And you will never be a mentor, despite the fact that you try to be one. You know, like, you will never be anything. Except anyone can be anything because we're Disney. And it's like, wait, but okay, because Luke wasn't your idea, so now you're going to crap on that. But now you're saying that anyone can be special. And that's what it felt like. It felt like a Disney power play of these weren't our characters, so we're done with them. They have nothing to give us. And look at these wonderful characters that even a little kid with a broom has more potential than this person that you literally grew up with and you saw go through trials, tribulations, and we even have a framework for them to be a good, decent, like the next, like Qui-Gon in that. And it just
I mean, Qui-Gon, he didn't get along with the council. He didn't,
oh
he
yeah,
had, I think that, I mean, a point was trying to be made that it's not going to take a hero with magic powers to solve this problem. There's a problem in the galaxy, and yes, going to get this hero with magic powers might strengthen your side of the thing. But even Rey realizes in the movie, oh, it's not going to be this hero with magic powers. I'll try the other hero with magic powers. And if I can turn Kylo back to Ben Solo, then we have a chance. And in the end, it's going to take everyone. It's going to take the whole galaxy uniting in a way that they haven't felt empowered to do ever, in order to finally turn this thing around. And I
see, but I would disagree. I would say that Return of the Jedi was that, because yeah, Luke goes off to fight Vader and Palpatine, but without the crew on the ground, without the other people in the starships, none of that would be, it's that
Luke's
same
storyline in Jedi is pretty non-consequential to the rest of what's going on. Like it goes off.
Well, it isn't anymore.
Yeah, it goes off to redeem.
It isn't anymore because Palpatine's not dead. That's what I have an issue with Disney.
Yeah,
they literally were like, everything never happened. Like it that's what it felt like as that's just what it felt.
That was your takeaway. Yeah. That
was my takeaway. I walked away and I felt like they had crapped on everything that I enjoyed. And I was like, why can't you build upon? Why do you have to, like, it's one of those, you can't compliment someone without insulting the person next to them. Like, why can't we just build everyone up? Like, why can't these new people exceed the greatness that these people are? Why do you have to bring these old heroes down a few levels just so your heroes can look like they're well written? And
my favorite character in the original is Yoda, and it's not a long walk from what Yoda was in the original to what Luke is in this one.
And that's why I have an issue, because Luke was supposed to stand for and this goes even into how I feel, like my one qualm with Acolyte. I enjoyed Acolyte a lot. I loved Acolyte. But the issue I have is Disney has not given us any visual, watchable media where a Jedi does not fall into the same issues as they do during the Clone Wars.
That's the point. The point is
that's
the Jedi path is not it's not this.
But we have Star Wars stories. I don't want the same Star Wars stories regurgitated over and over again.
Because give us
just the beginning crawl where it just ends with, and I quote, "As the First Order speeds toward the Rebel base, the brave heroes mount a desperate escape." Dude, I've already seen Empire. I love Empire. I don't want to watch Empire again.
This is beat for beat Empire. Yeah, as the same way Force Awakens is beat for beat A New Hope, this is beat for beat Empire, which also blows my mind that people say they don't like the story structure. And it's like, well, you love Empire, and it's the same story structure in every way, except they have a Death Star trench run at the beginning, which is a great part of A New Hope. So they tack a trench run on the beginning.
And at the end, we have Hoth again.
At the end, we have a little bit of Return of the Jedi, because they come back together at the end. So it's like Empire with a better ending.
Well, the other thing you can't say that Empire is when we have our two different stories going on, they both do something. Whereas
yes, in this they do as well.
In this one, they do something, but also they could also not do that thing and nothing changes.
Just like
Whereas in
Indiana Jones.
Empire, when they do something, it actually leads at least somewhere they need to be. Whereas in this one, they
don't know. They get
begin
the best
and
and-
end at the exact same place with no advantage whatsoever.
They get to
think
Bespin, and Vader captures them and lures Luke in, and
But Luke would not have a way off the planet if not for them being there. Whereas they all end up on the same ship doing this, which scientifically speaking, I'm sorry, even if you run out of fuel, you're going the same speed that you were going originally because that's how space works.
I don't know how the bigger
What do you
ship's
mean?
going to catch up.
What do you mean?
That was the one thing I was just stuck
It
on.
made no sense.
I
They're
couldn't
not as
figure that
fast.
part out.
Their whole thing was
that kind of comes
running
from
out
the
of
board
fuel.
game. Yeah.
But the problem is if they're already going at a certain speed and their engines fail, they will continue going at that speed because that's how space works.
Yeah.
So
Can we
What-
agree though when
I don't
Holdo
understand.
like turned around and she'd use the ship as
The
as
Holdo
a weapon?
loved
and she-
that.
It's amazing.
That
amazing.
was that
I-
was my jaw dropping. My
I
God,
loved
it's so
that.
beautiful looking,
Yeah.
and how
I know people have an
dead
issue with
ass
that.
quiet it is.
Yeah.
I think it's beautiful.
It's
Th- This movie uses silence in a way no other Star Wars movie uses silence, and that moment, at least in the theater, was stirring. That was a
And I
stirring.
Hold on.
Exactly.
No.
I'm not a big fan.
Best
of
Star
Quest.
Wars silence is the
Oh, before the seismic charge of Jango.
yes.
Oh yeah. That's
Girl.
more
I was
like
hold
sound
on. They've
design.
used silence before, and it was beautiful.
Yeah,
And then
that's
just-
my favorite sound effect in all of
It's
Star Wars.
so good.
Yeah.
That silence and the boom.
Yeah.
But this time,
Yeah.
they
But this one was just yes, and it was well done.
and
I
they
loved
held
it.
on that quiet, and they held on that shot of just letting you remember what the word awesome means. Now I want you to sit there and be in awe of what just happened.
I
and
said
be
I wanted
quiet
that as
with
a
your thoughts.
poster when I
I
left.
thought that was amazing.
The third time I went to the movie, they put up a warning saying there's a moment in this movie where the sound drops out, and it's on purpose. It's not a screw up of the theater, because I guess they got so many
Seriously?
complaints. Yeah,
Oh,
where
yeah.
people
I
were
thought
like,
that was brilliant sound design.
and at that point, I was like, okay, I don't think media literacy is at its highest right now.
No,
and
no.
and it's gone downhill since then.
Yeah,
But that's another conversation.
Dave, what was your opinion of this? Like, where does it fall in your world?
I enjoyed it. Now,
Yeah.
there's my issues exist. I think pacing was not ideal. There was a lot more slow parts compared to, say, Phantom Menace, which ran like a video game.
Mm-hmm.
Action sequence, action sequence, action sequence, action sequence, action sequence, with some consequences in between. Whereas this had a lot fewer of those. They had a lot more.
It runs more like Empire.
Attempts at drama.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that they necessarily worked. The most negative thing I have to say was, and I know you actually like this scene, Cam, is Space Leia.
Yeah,
as she uses the Force, she's been blown up, frozen in space, and she uses the Force to get back to the ship.
Yeah,
and I did not like that. I don't.
I'm terrible. I'm
that
like,
as
you know what? Space Mom can do whatever Space Mom wants to do.
Yeah.
It's sad. As
Space
I
Mom
okay.
can lift the car off her kids because they have Herculean.
I
whatever
swapped. First time I saw it, I hated it
power.
because it felt like it went on too long.
Mm.
Like it was
the
like
flight.
she's out there for like.
Mhm.
Yes, that is possible. Yes, that is believable. But this is taking way too long. Like, I know you're trying to make it dramatic, but it should have been an almost simultaneous push and pull. The
Right, they actually
second
cut
time,
away and cut back.
yeah,
That editing that tighter.
that could have been. But
Maybe
then
better,
the
yeah.
second time I saw it, that did seem tightened up, and so it wasn't as crazy unbelievable. So I left the theater the first time, and I was like, ooh, that was icky.
Oh,
And just didn't I do think it visually was not well done. There was
No.
something in the editing, something
Well,
didn't seem right, and
I
I don't
think
even know what it was. But I will say the second time I saw it, I was like, it wasn't as long as I thought it was.
Mhm.
Like, I fully believe that someone can do that because
Mhm.
as long as you are not holding your breath, that is absolutely possible.
And you see her prepare before the bomb hits too. There's that
Yeah.
moment where she kind of prepares and meditates in, and she's in a focused state when she gets blasted out. It didn't catch her by surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not.
Also,
I don't
sorry.
hate the scene, just for the record. It's
Mhm.
just it was
Mhm.
one of those moments that I'm just like,
It
Well,
You
felt
could have
cheap.
done without it.
It
yeah,
felt
These are not-
there could have been another way to handle that whole scene, and that's where most of my gripes are, is not what they did so much as what they could have done.
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I think
I will say
I-
this, in that I'm not a big Marvel fan, but in I think it's the first Guardians of the Galaxy, which might be the only one. No, I've seen all three of them, but in the first one, they're out in space for way longer, getting slowly frozen in space. I think we find out later that Star-Lord is a half god anyway,
Yeah.
or something. But
Later on.
at the time, I remember thinking, wow, they're in space a long time without oxygen and every liquid in their body trying to boil, and all these things. I will say this, and I've talked about it before, but you see Luke kind of use the Force in A New Hope, and as certainly in the trench run, Obi-Wan's kind of helping him, and he's trying to kind of learn how to focus. The first time you really see Luke do something with Force powers, it's when he's hanging upside down in the Wampa cave, and he has that moment where he focuses and he reaches out, and the lightsaber sucks into his hand. Leia, I would say the first time, other than if you watch Empire with me, and I'm constantly pointing out how often she uses the Force throughout Empire, but the first time where I think she officially is shown using the Force in a official capacity, a scripted way, would be when after the second Death Star blows up in Jedi, and she connects with Luke and knows he's alive,
Mhm.
and Han perceives that as some kind of love connection, but it's really her reaching out with the Force in the way that you see Rey do in 7, 8, 9. But this time was the first time we really got to see her like physically use the Force. And it's the exact same move where she focuses, she opens her eyes, and she reaches out and essentially pulls the lightsaber to her hand, except all she's doing is pulling the door of the skate of the airlock to her hand. It's just that the ship is way bigger than her, and whether the ship was moving to her or she was moving to the ship, I think some of the weirdness of how it looked could have been the fact that in our human brains, we expect her robes to be flowing, or we expect just kind of a different, her position to change as she moves. But because you're in the vacuum of space, it's just whatever position she's in, she's going to move. So I think a lot of people that think it looks weird are just, they have to get their head around the fact that she's in the vacuum of space. Also, the effect of that thing puts her in the ICU for a long time. Like
Yes.
it's not like she
and
gets
I
back to the
appreciate
ship.
that she didn't
Yeah.
just jump back into being, hey, I'm back.
Yeah, now let's go out
Yeah.
there and blow them up. Yeah, like it really, it probably damaged her lungs beyond repair. It could have led to her eventual passing in the next movie. Like a lot of that damage of that moment, just the concussion of the explosion probably, started her on the path. Anyway, but I think it is one of the most beautiful moments in the movie, and I kind of feel bad for anyone who gets taken out of it by it. Yeah. Sorry.
Fair.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. That is
Um,
totally fair. I that's what we're here for, is to is to discuss it.
mhm.
There was just little things. I didn't love the little kids at any point. They could have just erased them from the movie, and because they had no appreciable impact to anything other than the very last, oh look, he got her ring. scene.
Yeah.
Well, there's
They-
hope. There's hope in the
Yeah, there's
galaxy.
hope, and
Yeah.
but I mean, they could have.
Oh, but don't have too much
Don't
hope
cut-
because you won't grow past anything, no matter how much you learn and how much you assume. You will just end up
I really just don't.
abandoned in the middle of nowhere because
where it's
no
like-
one
I really just don't
actually
think that's the
grows as
message.
people.
It's
I mean,
sad for-
The message, the theme of this movie. Sorry, Melanie. The theme of this movie is failure.
yes.
And I can talk a lot about that, but this is a movie about all the little failures and how we learn from them. But anyway, go Melanie.
That's because your favorite character even tells Luke it's
Failure.
about the failure.
And when
on
he
everything.
said that, he took that out of a script I had already written. And I was like, how is my favorite character now saying everything that I learned in high school? I'll get into that, but yeah, sorry. And my second favorite character in all of Star Wars is Rey. And that was really solidified in this movie. Rey is amazing. Anyway, go.
For me, I really this is gonna hurt Cam. I'm so sorry.
Go for it. Go for it.
But I think I'll get even more brownie points with Jess. This and again, I'm trying to just stake to this film. I'm not trying not to go to sequels, but it's kind of hard. I really feel this movie, especially that this series. I'm going to go with the sequels. Here we go. See, I'm going to keep going back and forth. I'm so sorry. I feel as if they took the original characters and just took them out of these movies.
Oh, that's
and
what I
just
asked last
focused
week.
on these three completely. I wouldn't have as nearly as many problems.
Same.
I personally, I think they did Luke dirty on the whole. Even if he stared out at the twin sunset and just sat there, and then if the last thing we saw was him just smiling, saying, okay, a little bit more redemption. I got some work to do with myself. We're good. And we cut out. I would have been happy as a clam.
They didn't have
I didn't need to see him to die.
He didn't have to die, I suppose.
He didn't have to die.
I think in a
Han died. We've already discussed
And even comparing it, because to what you said about like, oh, and Leia's been through this whole ordeal, and then she's able to do exactly what Luke does in the next film.
It does kill her.
To me,
It kills her, but that's the thing. He's supposed to be a fully trained, been doing it a lot longer to completion, yet they're equally as set to be able to do that, despite the fact that her body never fully recovered. And I'm like,
how well trained Luke was. Like Luke didn't get a full training by any stretch of the imagination.
To me, this should have been either original character, the original trilogy character stories all the way through, and that there's subplot of the other guys, or the other guys that should have been the main line, and we should have just completely taken Luke and Leia and Han, really dialed them barely in this.
Yeah, and I
think
asked that last episode. I thought, I
would've
wonder
been
if it would have been better. I wonder if it would have been better with just new characters. And
because and I know that they're doing it as this is supposed to be the Skywalker saga, but then again, that would have freed up is she a Palpatine, or she's supposed to be Obi-Wan? We know she was supposed to be Obi-Wan. Like she was a Kenobi. She was a damn Kenobi somehow. We know this.
How? That doesn't make
but
sense.
even to your point about the whole motif being about, failure and everything. But it felt like, and I know that these films are just to sell toys and just to, whatever.
Yes, because that's why Luke had 3 costumes in this film.
Yeah.
Well, it's religion. It's religion.
But it's also like,
I got that lunch laundry.
Luke should have been having the failure conversation with Rey. That is what they should have passed on that.
I hated that.
I thought this was about hope. So which is it? Is it about hope or failure?
It's about hope in the face of a world where you don't need the magic wizards.
Magic wizards. She even went down to the thing and did like the Harry Potter crap of looking at the thing, going, "I want to see my parents."
She's got Sith blood. I mean, we're gonna get to that, but
think
no.
She goes to the dark. She goes to the dark without
Sith
any
isn't a bloodline,
hesitation.
and if it was, she would have tentacles. So Sith is a species, but they have red skin and they have tentacles. Sheev Palpatine is not Sith by blood. He is a Sith by religion and belief system. You cannot pass that down bloodline.
Well, what I'm saying is that she is dark. She's dark.
Snoke was the biggest MacGuffin.
No, because per Star Wars, darkness is not born into you. You make a choice. It is a choice.
And she does. She always chooses the light. Always.
Did they break that kyber crystal in half, by the way, with the two of them at the end? Which, by the way, the fight scene between them and the Praetorian Guard, chef's kiss. Again,
that throne room's amazing. It's amazing.
They had to post-edit and remove weapons from their hands because they had full things open. If you actually watch, some of their weapons disappear mid-fight, because if not, they would have. Yes, it's actually really poorly edited and executed. Sorry, as the combat person here.
The issue Ryan had with it was because Adam and Daisy were so well rehearsed, he was able to stand back, and like he wasn't trying to create the fight in the edits. He was trying to stand back and really get it for real. And I'm sure, you know, anyone who's like Jess, anyone who's like a martial arts or a fighting person will pick holes in it immediately, because they are actors and they're doing the best.
So is Ewan McGregor, and they had to slow their fight down.
Yeah, between him and Parker, they don't tell him to slow down.
Those fights were made in the edit for sure.
No, they weren't.
Well, I mean, they did a great job, and you're right, they had to slow them down. But the George Lucas style of cutting fights is way different than what they did there.
No,
like George cuts.
It's one of those things of like, if you're going to have a melee fight, which is fine. Mm-hmm. The problem that they had was they were having weapons on Daisy and
Adam.
Oh my gosh, Adam.
Yeah.
From the Praetorians, because they were wide open, because they didn't rehearse it as much. Like they didn't drill this the way that other people had. And I think it's because they leaned on a lot of other stuff. They didn't put as much.
What was the fight choreographer's name for all the other lightsabers? I can't remember the name.
Niles, or it's like Gile.
I can see him, but I can't remember his name.
I thought it was like Neil. I can see him as well.
Niles, you don't.
Yeah.
But yeah, they didn't have a specific fight coordinator like they did for the other prequels, so they knew all the different Jedi styles, all that kind of crap.
I mean, yeah.
They were kind of a little bit different anyway.
Again, it's like what styles would they have had? I mean, she's a scavenger. She's used to just hitting people with sticks. And what's Kylo's fight style?
Oh, don't even get me started. She uses it's a bow staff, and she shows it very skilled in the first one, which I loved. Why the frick does she have single saber instead of a saber staff? I'm sorry, that makes no sense. I know that's in the end.
They tried to tweak that with her practicing with the bow staff, and then she kind of looks over at the
lightsaber, and she's like, "I'll try." And she only kind of has what's available to her. It's not like she can.
Her big swings. I was like, "What the heck is that?" I'm like, "Oh, then I guess she's never used it before."
Some people have said that
Nick Gillard.
Thank you, Nick Gillard. Oh my god,
he's fantastic.
We had all the right letters, but in the wrong.
No, in all different orders.
No, okay, so I'll get negative for a second. There's a couple things that I would change about this movie, even though I still feel like it's a masterpiece. If you watch the behind the scenes, I just really think they were firing on all cylinders. Again, in a world where Carrie Fisher is going to pass away, which obviously you would never suspect.
Yeah, you're not going to be prepared for that.
Yeah, I might have in a 2020 hindsight world, I might have swapped Holdo and her for the Holdo maneuver. Like if it was Leia that did that light speed thing, and then Luke and Leia kind of dying in the same movie as twins, like they were born in the same movie, dying in the same movie, kind of works for me. Also, keeping Holdo
die before this production, like she died mid-production.
No, they were done. They were done shooting.
They were done shooting all the principal photography for this. She died just before they were going to start the next one, and they had just enough stuff to kind of tweak.
No,
Yeah.
they didn't know she was. I mean, I think they knew she was having health issues, but I don't think.
To the point of like,
Right. Yeah, and I think they were hoping to have her as a big part of the third movie.
Yeah.
But
hold on, that makes me dislike it even more. They did that poor of a job with her in this, with her
Well,
actually being there.
I think she was also very ill, so that idea of her being in the ICU kind of came from the limitations of her filming ability too. So they were up against it big time. But anyway, I think keeping Holdo alive to be a foil for Poe Dameron in the next movie, seeing their relationship grow would have been cool. The other one, when Finn and Rose leave for Canto Bright, I wish that was an accident. I wish when she caught him in the escape pod, it just jettisoned and they were heading towards somewhere and they had to figure it out. I wish the Star Wars is kind of wrong place at the wrong time. It would have been better if it wasn't like a plan, if it was more, oh shit, where are we now? What do we do? How do we solve this problem?
For them to call Maz and Maz saying, oh, you need to go to Canto Bight, and they're like, oh, well, we just happen to have an escape pod that will go right there because it happens to be right there, even though we are very low on fuel. That part for me, I like your idea better.
Yeah, it just, if it was like she tackled him and they landed in the escape pod and it launched, and then they woke up on the beach and they were, where are we? And they, and anyway, if it was just more of a scramble, I think that would have been better. I really dislike that Maz scene when they Skype with Maz and she's in the union dispute and she's talking about this code breaker, which I was totally convinced it was going to be Lando. I really thought it was going to be Lando, and when it wasn't Lando, I was kind of like, well, that was a missed opportunity. So that those, I'd change those things around. But again, I don't think it's less enjoyable.
I'm
but
not a big
just little ideas. I would change
quests.
things about everything.
What did you think about the fact that it was just a fetch quest anyway? I mean, I liked how at the end it didn't work. That part I really was happy with.
On the surface, it was that, but I think the main point of it, and again, you might like it or hate it for this reason, but the main point of it was that neutrality is aggression. And for Finn, he, in the last one, he never picked a side. He wakes up and he's not interested in being part of this resistance. He's not interested in being part of the established republic, and he definitely does not want to be part of what the First Order is about. But choosing to not fight against them is the same as there's a Gary Gulman joke where he talks about Switzerland being neutral in World War II, and it's like, if you're neutral in the face of what they were facing, that's not neutral. That's aggression to the other side. The idea that he needed to learn that there's a side to take, and it's up to you which side you're going to take here, but there's a war on. Also, I think Canto Bight is more Andor coded than people give it credit for. I think it is that life under the thumb of the Empire. It is people making big money and willing to allow the status quo to continue. And for me, it was a phenomenal segment of the movie because I just saw all these things I always wanted to see. Also from a production design standpoint and creature design, and I'm a Jim Henson guy.
It was definitely fun
in Canto Bight.
I kind of just wish that it had, like, I don't need them to have everything succeed, but even in their failure, it didn't change much. Like, I there needs to be like bigger consequences if you fail. There needs to be bigger reward, but instead it felt very like, oh, we tried. Now we're back where we and instead they kind of used it as a way to kill off Phasma, who we saw for 5 seconds.
Dude.
Like Boba Fett.
Which, yes, but also like it felt like there was a whole lot of action and nothing happened.
Yeah, well,
which is very hard to.
That's what we're in for. It's and DJ sums it up. You blow them up today, they blow you up tomorrow.
But no one blew up. No one did.
Are you
Like,
kidding?
it was
Everything's blowing
They
up
got
all over
stampeded. That was
hangar.
fun.
It
They got
was-
stampeded.
It was
Yeah.
I-
Yeah, and
it was just kind of
those
dull. It's
copiers
like
and-
I want something to I'm watching a movie for something to happen, not for nothing to happen either way.
Well, and there
But
is a little bit of a part 2 of 3, you know, anytime you're building part 2 of 3, you want things to happen, but you don't want too much to happen because you still need a third act.
or you have things suddenly happen, like how Rose suddenly is in love with Finn.
Oh, she always had a crush on Finn. She couldn't even talk when she first saw him. You know, like she was crushing hard on Finn, the idea of Finn, the celebrity, the hero.
But then she found out who he was and was like, wow.
And then shot him.
Which
And it was
is my
after the break.
favorite.
And she was done with him.
My favorite line is that, though, is when he says, "Oh, I know where the escape pods are." Of course you do. Like, that was one of my favorite lines. I don't know why people didn't like Rose. I thought she was
Racism.
great.
I loved it.
Yeah, racism.
No,
Yeah,
I loved Rose.
she's
I didn't love the
and
very
wonderful.
end where
I
she
didn't like that
she
they out of
stops him
nowhere
and kisses him.
Yeah,
That part
felt
made me
weird.
go, where did this come from?
I mean, it didn't feel completely non-platonic still. It still felt like a general love that, and her little message of, we got to stop just blowing them up and running away. Like, stopping them doesn't stop doesn't change the galaxy. What we need to do is protect our loved ones, protect that idea of our values, our message to the galaxy. It's a very simple, maybe a little too boiled down idea, but
I think I've put my finger on what I have an issue with, because I love the message of that. I don't feel like it was earned in stakes, in outcomes, in like even in the build of it. Like, I think that could have been a very brilliant and wonderful moment if it felt like there had been more on the line, or like I don't think the stakes were high enough here for all of the messages they were trying to say, because even with DJ, or JD, was he DJ or
DJ.
I am so dyslexic, it's not even funny. Don't give me letters for names. But even in his thing, I mean, I'm not saying that's not a great message to have, and it's not a brilliant way to kind of do that, but it also felt, by lessening the stakes, by having none of their actions have consequences, it lessens the message that we're receiving from that, and it doesn't feel as inspirational. It feels preachy. And I think that's where I have a lot of issue with all of the side quests, because that's where all of the lessons came from, which are great, but the stakes didn't feel high enough, and because it felt so drug out, like they were on this, going the same speed for the entire film. There was never
they were actually getting away, and it's very subtle because
that's what I'm saying. The subtlety is not selling the messaging. It needs to have stakes.
Yeah. I have a friend who always complains about spaceships in movies. He loves Star Wars, but he also loves to hate it. And he says whenever they're flying spaceships in movies, they're always like by a nebula or in the asteroids or near the planet's rings and going through the ring, you know, and he said, like, you know, obviously 99.99999% of space travel would just be pure blackness. And when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, here we are. We're out in pure blackness. Now, the other thing too, I imagine the jump they made from the planet at the beginning, that first jump to escape, they went somewhere, you know, like they didn't just jump without doing the coordinates. So they must have been near a few different options for what their next base was going to be. And then when the and again, the hyperspace tracking is interesting, and it kind of changes the game, and they do set it up in Rogue One, but it kind of changes the game to a sense where it's like, okay, now we can't just hyperspace away from things. Sure, that's interesting. I wouldn't have hated it if it was a spy, if they were more concerned that oh, if we just jump, like they found us this time, if we just jump into hyperspace again, we'll be out of fuel, and the spy, if there's a spy in our ranks, is just going to tell on us anyway.
Yeah.
So that's why we're not running away in that sense. But so I imagine they kind of knew they were near what's the salt planet again? Crate. They kind of knew they were near Crate. Maybe there was a couple other options of places where they could go in like a best case scenario, worst case scenario. I think Crate was probably worst case scenario because it was so abandoned, you know.
Yeah. And I'm not saying none of that's, you know, illogical, but from just watching it, you know, it's like, and that's to Dave's point of like the pacing of you're wanting me to believe in this, you're wanting me to invest in this, and I'm watching this for 2 hours, and it's like, ooh, they're coming for us.
Empire, they were having this amazing flight through the asteroid belt, and then they just hid.
Yeah,
they hid inside a cave, and it was just the Empire floating above it, kind of bombing and every now and then getting taken out. And like, so there always is this, like, my friend Wojtek always calls it ET stuck in the house. There's always a point in these movies where ET is stuck in the house and he's just kind of waiting for everyone
and
to come
that would have been fine if it was for like a blip, but it was the whole film.
Yeah, there was no heartbeat to this.
It's a long movie.
Some of the old other movie, it was this action, 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 action. Whereas this, it just kind of went like this, a little squigglies of action, but no real change to even the action sequences. Didn't have a giant change in pace.
It's interesting because in the script they cut back and forth a lot more. Ryan talks about that in the commentary where like, oh, this was the moment where we were going to jump to the other story, and in the script it was like jump 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 jump. And then when they saw some of these performances, and also I think, you know, it's a little bit like we've talked about on Horses on Film, when there's a journey movie, sometimes the pacing does have to slow down so that you get the sense that it's this long journey. And I think because, you know, Rey is kind of on essentially Dagobah doing her Dagobah segment, it can't jump back and forth too much, or you'll lose kind of this timeline of how things are taking. But I want to mention, you know, as far as, you know, new Force abilities, that Kylo and Rey like Force zooming, Force Skyping is amazing. That was so amazing. Did you guys enjoy that?
Why aren't they dead?
Because they didn't do it.
Because of Snoke.
Yeah, he said you'd be dead.
Why isn't he dead?
Well, he does.
He
does end up dead, but
like that's what I have, inconsistencies. Yeah. Like if this is going to be like the big thing, like I wouldn't necessarily, and honestly, I didn't have an issue with them communicating. It was the touching. I was like, that's pretty cool. That's not, because there's a difference between telepathy and telekinesis when you are present, but to combine the two over a span, and then no one's dying, despite the fact that we're going to eventually kill 2 of our other people in the same way, but then everyone else can just do it willy-nilly. It's like
they were just communicating though. But I did love that first time he looks down and he has water on his hands, and you know, there's a good moment in the third movie too where he gets the necklace and stuff, and slowly the more they do it, the more the environment kind of builds out. I really appreciated the growth in their characters in those scenes, and I mean,
would be fine, but why are we killing other characters for doing the exact same thing when the other one, like,
it's not totally the same. She wasn't projecting herself across the galaxy, like,
but they were much like,
I don't know.
Hey, remember
transporting a lightsaber from across the galaxy is pretty...
Well, Finn didn't get much of a chance to grow in this as far as his abilities, because he was, I mean, they were on the run and they were just kind of scrambling.
When he was about to like go, when he was like going to do his little kamikaze mission, and they're talking to him, and I'm like, well, here's Luke in the trench run, and everyone's yelling at him. He rips his headset off. I'm like, oh, here's Luke in the trench run. This is gonna be awesome. We're gonna see some type of Force thing. Nope. I was like, well, so much for that. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and again, I think at that point they had had enough noble sacrifices, and Rose was like, let's stop with this. Let's stop. And then even still, when Luke was projecting and facing Kylo Ren, a lot of them were prepared to run out there. Okay, well, let's help him. Let's get out there. Let's fight. And that's when they're like, when Poe, who actually grows quite a bit in this one, is like, no, he's doing this for a reason. Like, we have to be smart about this. And then it's, maybe less heroes, but more leaders. And that was Leia's message to him, that sometimes you just have to lead and make the right decision for the big story, the big game, long game.
I was just truly hoping that for when this one first came out, it was called The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
And I was really hoping that it was going to be The Last Jedi was a Jedi plural, meaning it was going to be Finn and Rey. And even if they could have hinted that, like at the end with her moving the rocks again, and she gets all the rocks, and if he could have pushed them, or they both did it, I'm like, okay, this is no, we're just gonna.
Or from the inside, he could have tried,
because at least when he starts walking, because he's the first one that starts running through, and they kind of all move away from him. I was like, oh, maybe that was that. No.
That would be funny as all hell, though.
Yeah, he's like,
move.
Wait,
it was right.
Oh, I have an idea, and he starts doing this, and then they start moving.
I would have loved that.
Loved
moment.
that.
That's a great joke. That's a great joke. I love that.
That would have been a great joke. And then even then, if later on showing that because that was like the whole little fun thing at the beginning, or in the last movies, that they were hinting that he could be a Jedi. Please, please, please let him be a Jedi. No.
Well, again, and I think that's what we're so focused on, people becoming Jedi, but that's like sort of being, I don't mean to offend anybody. That's sort of like saying, oh, that person's really kind and really caring and compassionate. Maybe they could be a Christian, or maybe that person who's so compassionate should be our Pope. And it's like, well, no, that you can have these compassionate traits without the dogma of a sect. So I think that was a lot of the point of this. And, I've been saying obviously in our episode 1 way back at the beginning of this, I talked about my just put it out, my cult opinion of how midichlorians work and how the Force works.
It's not my words of a cult. It's an actual Star Wars cult. Like, clarifying for anyone who hasn't listened to. I wasn't saying he was a cultist.
I definitely
Star Wars said he's a cultist.
Yes,
so.
I definitely fall into a cultist in the sense that I don't believe the Force is a tool to be well wielded. I don't think it's a thing that needs to be attached to a religious sect. It is something that belongs to nature. It's that natural balance. And when Luke has that speech in this, where he's talking about it's time for the Jedi to end, and powerful dark and powerful light and all these things that he says, it was finally somebody saying what I've been saying since the 80s. And it meant so much to me. And that's, I think, the main reason why I left this film just thrilled. But I was in the minority. Hang on one second.
I want to bring up something completely out of the realm of what we've been talking about. The amazingness that was mother of all invention, the porgs.
Oh, gorgeous.
They had these puffins that it cost too much to erase.
I think that's so clever.
So they just covered them over with porgs. And I thought that was brilliant, and then led to absolute merchandising phenomena.
I have a porg shirt. I was gonna wear it, and
I
Dare to be
almost
cute.
thought of a
Dare to
porg
be cute.
pummel.
I had someone tell me, they were like, I hate porgs, and I was like, why? And they were like, no, they're just stupid. They just did it for money. And I was like, no, did you know that they were on like a Puffin reserve and like they
Yeah.
needed a way to cover, and instead of CGIing them gone, and they were like, that's why porgs exist. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
And they were
Yeah,
like,
it's literally a
well,
bird
crap, now I
sanctuary.
can't hate porgs. And I was
Yeah.
like,
Exactly. How can you hate porgs? They taste delicious.
They're delicious, and that's a great scene with Chewie where he really wants to eat it, and it's so hard for him because he's so food motivated.
What was it? I did mention something the other day, and I said it's like one of the best parts of The Last Jedi, and it's the silly bit where Luke is telling Rey to reach out, and he's got the little
the read.
I can feel it.
You feel that? And he's like, yeah, that's the Force. Really, it's really strong. Smack.
Yeah.
That is just brilliant. Loved
It's
that.
cute.
I wanted more of that.
Yeah, it definitely, I mean, that's the George line, dare to be cute. And you know, anyone who's like, oh, you know, I don't like the Ewoks, they're cute, or I don't like this, it's cute, and all this
They're
stuff. It's
cannibals.
like, yeah, have you ever been? Yeah, exactly. They're like vicious creatures, and they happen to be adorable. But have you ever looked around Earth? Like 90% of the animals on Earth are adorable. You know, it's a very important evolutionary trait to be cute as hell.
Sand cats.
It's worked well for Dave. So.
Super deadly. Cutest little
Caviars.
Yeah, penguins and you know, chickadees, and you know, like there's all kinds of things in our world that are adorable, and I love that you know, where Avatar does not want anything to be touchable or cute or interesting. Everything needs to be slimy and scary and gross. This does not worry about that at all. And now on to Yoda. Yoda makes an appearance in this, and Melanie is a born Yoda hater, or at least
bringing.
Yeah,
I'm surprised. I mean, at least this time he didn't. He's such a troll. Such a troll.
Absolutely.
He's like, I'm going to burn this. I'm not going to burn this. Talks him out of burning it. What's he do? Burns it.
Yeah, because
such a troll.
She already has everything she needs, which is a funny line, especially because she stole all the books. So all he's burning is a tree. He's not burning the sacred Jedi text.
Yeah, but do you think he tells that to Luke? No,
because you only need to tell. You know, it's the truth is your own. You know, is from a certain point of view, right? Like, you don't need you don't need every little detail to know that your master's right and you're wrong. And he has a great speech about failure, which is, again, something I said earlier. I went to this high school that both my kids go there now. It's a self-directed school. It's not homeschooling at all. You're in a school, but there's no classrooms. There's teachers if you need them. You just have access to the work. You do the work. You don't write the test until you're ready to write the test. As long as you get your work done and you write all your tests by the end of the year, you're done. And it's a very rare school. It's perfect for kids that are very self-motivated and want to finish early. It's very good for kids that are, you know, we had a lot of models, Olympic athletes, people that are working actors, you know, we had a lot of people that were, you know, on schedules outside of the fiscal school year and needed to be able to keep up with their schoolwork. It also works very well for dummies like me that want to Max Fisher 3 years of high school away, putting on plays, you know, hanging out with friends, talking about Star Wars and not getting their work done, because everything I ever learned about how to work under pressure, how to meet a deadline, how to screw up, how to fail, I got to do in high school for free, as opposed to university for $100,000 a year or whatever. And I was so far behind. After about a year and a half of school, I had almost nothing done, and I really had to scramble. It was some of the worst moments of my life. But at the same time, I learned so much through failure, and I learned how to learn. And I think that's what high school is about. I don't think high school is like, when did the French Revolution start? And, you know, like, that knowledge is not going to help you in your life, but learning how to learn is an amazing skill. And I left high school with, I mean, it did take me 4 years. I did have to do an extra year, and I was young for my age, so it worked. But leaving high school with life skills that you can't teach outside of failure changed my life. And when I see a movie, and there's a few of them out there, and when I see a movie where the lesson is what can be learned through failure, why is it not necessarily the most important thing in the world to win? Things like that, messages like that, it really strikes a chord with me. And it's one of the main reasons why this movie is so beautiful and so well crafted. Because again, we could sit here and say like, oh, this, you know, this thing's the wrong color, or this thing's the wrong shape, or this section was too slow. But at the end of the day, you boil down any movie, it has something it wanted to say. And I think Rian Johnson did a beautiful job putting a message behind this that at least meant a lot to me. And maybe I'm the only one on the planet, but it was a special movie for me, and it still is.
I think that's a good place to pause for today on what is a good message and a happy message, because this is the Happiness Patrol.
Yeah.
So let's just, you know, thank you guys again for coming out and talking Star Wars, having fun with us. Cam, where can we find you?
Oh my God. I'm on letterboxd.com, Cameron Chapman. You can always read Star Wars reviews there. I'm on Horses on Film, which we're trucking along. We got 100 of the top Westerns of all time that we're going through on this show. We're at this point, we've recorded, maybe 15 or 16 of them. It's on YouTube at Horses on Film. We've got horsesonfilm.com. We got a Gmail, horsesonfilm@gmail. You can email us and let us know what your little Western journey is. And on Letterboxd too, at letterboxd.com, Horses on Film, that we're making lists. We're having fun. And it is really making me happy, because I'm starting to see people like change their viewing habits and actually like watch movies along with us and stuff, which is it's really kind of special that we're creating like a little community of people watching Westerns. And, you know, maybe that's a thing. We'll see. Anyway.
It's a lot of fun. It's a great show. I'm having a ton of fun on it. Melanie joined us for an episode.
Yeah, we're gonna get Jeff out episodes,
soon, but the second one won't have aired by the time this does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just having a lot of fun on Horses on Film for sure. So check that out if you want to explore a new genre potentially of movies. I think you'll really enjoy it. Melanie, what's something that's making you happy, and where can we find you?
Right now, making me happy is being home. I'm done traveling for a little bit until next month. And the month after that. It's nice being home, watching TV, playing Polya. And although I just picked up Ghosts of Yote, so just gaming in general, just doing that. I would say that you can find me at Pieces of Melee, but I've just slowly also, what's been making me happy is disconnecting from social media. I'm done. It's just, I'm as happy as a clam in my own little happy spaces. Yeah. I'm in my happy little Discord world. I'm in my little groups of surrounding myself with the happy people I know, and working and doing a lot of work. So yeah, just this. That's what I'm happy just floating by right now. So yeah, you can find maybe find me at Pieces of Melee, but really I'm not posting much right now. Find me here.
Yeah.
We love it. We love that you're here.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Jazz, what's something making you happy, and where can we find you?
Well, you can find me at Song Swan Cosplay on Instagram, also Facebook. I'm also not posting a whole lot because MegaCon's coming up, so all of my brain power is going towards that. Making me happy. I did my first it here in Orlando. It's called Tourist Trap, but it's a weekend long stunt stage combat master classes. Like, it's a whole weekend, 2 days full of it. So I just got to do that a couple weekends ago, and everything hurt, and it was amazing. And I got to work with people who are in the industry and learn some really cool ways to take people down in a new type of martial art from Russia. But in that, I actually won the raffle, so I'm going to probably be going to one in my hometown in October for free. So, like, very excited about that. Enjoying to find new ways to kill people. No, I'm kidding. That's a joke.
But if you have to, you have to.
But if I have to, I could. But I can make it look good on stage and film.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the important thing. If you're gonna kill somebody, make it look good.
Well,
Yeah,
that's the
you look
thing
like
that
an
they were
actor.
teaching us. They were like, okay, so this is how you'd actually kill them. This is how we adjust it so you don't for stage and film. So it's like I get to learn both. So I was learning knife play with that, and like basically how to absorb, redirect, and do all this stuff with knives. And they were like, and for a stage play, this is how you tweak it. So I joke about saying knowing how to kill someone, but like I've actually been learning a lot of ways.
Well, it might come in handy.
You never know. I'm hoping not. I'm hoping I will never need to use my skills for anything but entertainment.
Perfect.
Good. Yes.
Yes.
That would. I think we all hope that.
Let me use that as the official statement that's going out into the world. Yeah.
Exactly. As for me, something that's making me happy, aside from this, because this always makes me happy, is just that. Well, no, it's mostly this, that we can get together, that we can have these conversations, even on something that we are iffy on. We can have a good conversation about it, a happy conversation, a good dialogue. That's just great. I'm running through a lot of stuff. I'm happy that I've been in a good headspace. I just finished playing through Burgle Bros 2, the Casino Capers. I did 11 games of that over on my channel, youtube.com/therathole, DOTCA. That's therathole.ca, but YouTube does not like URLs and URLs. I'm hoping that I can keep that brain power going so I can get a proper written review out for Burgle Bros. Other than that, you can find me on youtube.com/therathole, DOTCA. Most Sundays on Spill the Geek Tea at Spill the Geek T1. Right here on the Happiness Patrol, of course, along with all of these lovely yahoos. If you're not already subscribed, youtube.com/@happinesspatrolshow. Please give us a subscribe. We'd love to see more of you. Even if you're not a Star Wars fan, we've got, like I said, another season coming up very quickly, and it's going to be so much fun. I'm so excited for season 2. I'm almost like, okay, are we done Star Wars yet? I love Star Wars, but can we move on to the second season yet? No, we can't. It's going to be a great time. I think you guys are going to have a fun little fun romp with us. You can also find me on Tuesdays on Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, and of course every other Monday on Horses on Film with Cameron and Scott, who's of course not here, talking about the top 100 Westerns of all time. We've mentioned it a couple of times. It's a great show. It's just a ton of fun. I really am enjoying it. It's taking up a lot of my viewing time. Our next recording, I've watched 3 different versions of it, and I could easily try and track down 2 more, and may over the course of the next week. We'll see.
Yeah, it's amazing how many of these movies are like remade and remade and remade until it becomes like Ice Age. or A Bug's Life, or you just A Three Men and a Baby is one that is coming up in this Western world. And it's amazing that it's not just the movies we're covering, it's all the kind of adjacent stuff that's been kind of fun.
Yeah, it's been kind of neat. And I'm just gonna say, despite being one of the top movies of its year, I don't get why Three Men and a Baby did not really make me happy.
Oh, interesting. There's some pretty iconic 80s looks in there. That was fun.
That much is true. That much is true. But no,
potential Halloween costumes.
Exactly. But no, thank you three again for doing this. Thank you guys at home for watching. We're gonna put this thing up here, and we will blow on a kazoo.
Woohoo!
And we will have ourselves a great rest of your day. Please don't sue us, Disney.